Well, today we're going to do a wheel build with some rims with no nipple access holes. So we're going to have to use some different strategies for lacing this up, and starting with checking the ERD. and that's done differently than we normally do as well. So anyway, I'll show you step by step how this goes. Okay, so to determine the ERD, we're going to use a couple of spokes of a known length. In this case, they are 271 millimeters. And we're going to fit a nipple of the type that we're going to be using to that spoke and thread it on until the spoke is at the point where we want it to end, because the ERD essentially is the diameter across the rim plus the height of the nipple. So it's basically the diameter of where the spoke ends. That's the ERD, or effective rim diameter. So I want to do that. I want the spoke to end just above the bottom of the screwdriver flat and just below the top of it. So right midway up that screwdriver flat. So now we've got that position. So what we're going to do is we're going to mark this spoke with a piece of masking tape right at that length. Okay, so all right, we're still there. So the tape is right butted up against the nipple at the length that we want to have the spoke protruding through the nipple. Now we'll do the same with the other spoke that we're going to use for our measurement. Okay, so now we have to get nipples inside the rim, and to do that, so I've got the end piece of a steel spoke. So it's very important it has to be steel spoke so that it's attracted to a magnet. And then we put that into a nipple. And I've taken a magnet and put a piece of tape over it to protect the rim. So we need to put nipples in opposite holes to attach our spokes to get our measurement. So the way we get it where we want it is, first off, we just drop the nipple into the valve hole, and then we find it with the magnet, and then we guide it to the hole that we want to take it to. So this is a 24 hole rim. So we need to go 12 holes across from our, where's our valve hole here? So, all right, so we want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You can feel and hear the nipple being guided through the rim, and then we feed it out through the hole, and there we go. All right, so we've got the nipple out through the hole. Now, without losing it, we have to unscrew that little insert that we put in there. This is kind of a test of the fine motor skills. Not so easy for an old geezer like me. And then we thread one of our spokes in just up until that tape flag is up to where we want it inserted. And that's okay. So presumably that spoke is inserted the correct length inside that nipple. And now we do another one over here. Just count to make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And now we only have to go one hole over. There we go. Okay, so now we measure the overlap between these two spoke heads. Okay, so the total length of the two spokes would be 542 millimeters. And if we subtract the overlap, which is 15 millimeters. Okay, so 542 minus 15, 527. So 527 millimeters is our ERD. All right, so now that I'm at this stage, I've got these scrap spokes that I've cut down and threaded, and I'm going to insert all of the nipples into the holes and put these in just as place keepers to hold the nipples until I'm ready to lace the spokes into it. Okay, so we've got the nipples all inserted and held in place with these scrap spokes. So ready to lace it up. All right, we're ready to start lacing here. So as we replace these pieces of scrap spoke with the proper nipples, make sure we're starting at the right place. I'm going to be using this this Park tool. It's a universal spoke wrench, and what it does is it actually clamps on the nipple. So the part number of this is SW10 Park tool. There was actually a hook up here that goes around the spoke, but it was in the way for this particular operation, so I just cut it off. So what we're going to do here is clamp that on the nipple, and that makes it much easier to keep a hold of the nipple and not lose it into the rim. All right, so clamp that on good and tight and remove that. Make sure we're starting in the right place, and we are. Still a little bit of a wrestling match to get these in, and then I'm going to start the thread on there. Usually go about 4 rotations. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so the next one is 4 overs. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. that on. Make sure that's started. Okay, can't pull out others. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. There, just go around the rest of the wheel and place all the spokes like that. Okay, we're down to the final 2. I wasn't going to bore you by showing the whole process, but anyway, 2 more to do. So far we have lost 0 nipples into the rim, which is good, which I'm certain would not be the case if I was not using this little tool here. And of course, lacing a carbon rim, you always want to be careful to avoid scratching the rim with the sharp point of the spoke there. Helps if I get the spoke into the nipple. There we go. 1, okay, 2, 3, 4. All right, and 1 more. Two, 3, 4. Okay, there we go. All laced up. Zero nipples lost into the rim. That's it's always good when you can say that. So now it's just a matter of tensioning and truing as normal.